think we're live. I think we're live in the right places. You want to need a minute just to make sure. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can't. Let me know if you can see me. If you can see me, then I am terribly sorry. You know what? I'm going to need to... It's funny because I've got... I'm going to turn off chat for a second in the video, just because currently the only chat that's showing up is whatever's left over from Ashley's stream from earlier. And while I love Ashley, great kid, it's like residual chat, and it's just it's only a little fun. So what we're gonna do, let's go ahead, let's get started. Spicer the man McLeroy. How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. And let me know. Okay, so one of the things I'm pulling out for reference now, I'm trying a new layout for my my whole awesomeness that is all that. But I'm looking at Wreck-It Ralph more and more nowadays as reference, and there are a few things that I want to be able to refer to when it comes to building the environment, all of which having to do with like the go-karts, Sugar Rush. There's some really cool things that they did for Sugar Rush that relate directly to what I'm doing. Thanks, Spicer. Yeah, it's got a long way to go, but it'll be pretty fun when it's done, I hope. Definitely been a fun bit of everything. Just fun to do, right? Let me see. I'm trying to find a good example. I wanted to go through and bookmark this stuff ahead of time. Life gets busy, and I forgot that I had this book, and so when I got home just now, I pull it out and I'm just like, you know what? That's what I need. That's exactly what I need. Quintonius, hey man, how you doing? How are you doing? Missed you last week. Not that you're required to be here, but man. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna, okay, yeah. Found the beginning of the Sugar Rush section. Now I'm going to go ahead, let's just stick. What makes you feel like you want to learn? Okay, I'm just going to stick some pages in here, be able to kind of bookmark stuff a little bit. And we'll tear this up and use it as skip class to go to a party. Okay. Okay, that's bending and getting all warpy. Okay, so for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll already have seen the teaser. One of the things that I intend to do with each piece that I work on is I want to add story. I want to add some story elements to it. And in this case, I'm going to add an action scene. This action scene is going to include a dragon. And this is just a sketch that I'd done a while ago, and I just thought, you know, something like that could be really cool, and have him like wrap around the mountain. And so I thought it'd be really super slick if we could go through at the beginning. Thanks, Mortar. That's very convenient that you're there to make the calls. You know, you can play the bad cop. I'll be good cop. But yeah. Something else. Pull something else out for a second here. Oh no, it got moved. It got moved, so it might have to end up waiting for next week. I have a surprise for a giveaway that we'll talk about next week. Okay. And it has to do with ZBrush. Okay, so that'll be cool. I had it sitting right here and it just got moved, so you know, whatever. We'll talk about it next week. Okay. No. Poor Quintonius. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's bring in our texture. Bring in our. There it is. There it is. Okay. Hit texture, add it to spotlight. That's weird that it kind of rotated it. It wasn't rotated. Okay, rotate it 90 degrees. You see, where's the opacity? There it is. Okay, now let's go ahead and scale it down. Move them up over into the corner. I don't need the whole sketch on there, but you know, it's kind of cool. Let's do something like that. That way we can just kind of get rid of some of this border stuff over here. I'll end up going through and cropping it and moving it into place so that it looks nice. Yeah, those are Oreos. I'll show you those in a second there, Mortar. But yeah, so we'll leave that right there. Okay, let's go up. First thing we do whenever we bring in a spotlight, we go up brush. We'll go samples, and we'll say like turn off spotlight projection. Okay, so now we're good. Alright, ZBrush, do your thing. Alright, there we go. Man, it's kind of chugging along for right now. See if I can get it to function like a normal human being. Yeah, so I went through and I created these Oreos as part of previous streams. Went through and started adding some of this damage and whatnot. What I want to do right now is I want to start putting in the story. And actually I had some really cool ideas for this, for my scene and whatnot. So we'll go through and we'll talk about some of that too. Okay. Let's go first. Let's come over here and get mask lasso because ain't nobody got time for none of that silly mask rectangle garbage. Okay, let's make this something pretty tall. Essentially what I'm going to do is surprise you with how cool this turns out. Just kidding. So I want to go through, I want to bring in some more mystical, magical sort of elements to this scene. And so one of the things I'm going to end up doing is, instead of just leaving it like this as a solid mountain, I'm going to have floating chunks, which should hopefully enable me to have some cool appeal and break up the rhythm and whatever. So here's what we're doing. We're just going to kind of go through and just play with shape for a second. I want to have kind of my basic shape even before I go through and I break it up. His scene is too powerful. All that chocolate, so dominating. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let's add in let's get a curve tube brush. Sounds like my son's having a time. Okay, let's do something like that. So what I'm doing is I'm adjusting the profile of the curve, making it so that at the beginning, to the far left of that curve, it's going to be thin, okay, and then it's going to get thick, and then it's going to get a little bit thinner again. So we can see if we drag it out, we're going to get this thin to thick to thinner. I don't want that to be quite that thick. So what we're going to do, we're going to play with this a little bit. This actually doesn't have to get too much thinner at the end. And let's lock my start point. That'll make it nice. Okay. Aravindan Jayaraman. Aravindan Jayaraman. Okay. Nice video. Can you please any job links? Those are things that I don't really have. I'm not gonna go searching for job links right now. However, there are a lot of really neat job sources. Yeah, I turned on the chat. One of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to have the chat on here, but I didn't want it to be when I started up, okay, when I started up the chat, when I started up the live stream, I had residual chat from Ashley's stream a couple hours ago. It was kind of funny. But yeah, so since I mean, Ashley's a nice girl and all that, but I don't need your chat. Okay, so let's come over here. So what I'm trying to do right now, this is obviously not going to be that big. It's going to be something more like this. What I want to do right now is I want to think about story. I want to think about the composition and how this could show motion and movement and power. Okay, because the main direction, actually, I want to have this kind of coming out from over here more. So let's take this, let's lock the end as well, and we can kind of drag this over here. Now I'm just going to kind of use my smooth. So I'm going to grab the curve, and then I'm going to hit shift, and that'll allow me to kind of shorten the curve. I don't know how long this function has been part of this tool set, but boy howdy is it helpful. something like that. I'll drag it over here. I'd be dragging it around a little bit. Just so that you guys know, in case you ever get hate for your puns, bring your puns to me. It might have been 4R8. It seems like when I learned about it, it was only recently. It might have been like with a demonstration that Joseph Druss did for 2018, but I think he said that it's only been out for a couple of versions or something like that. So really, really helpful. I mean, it's something that I wish I'd known about. It's like those things that you write back, you know, in a letter to yourself. You know, you always want to say, you always want to tell, you know, about the things that would make your life better and things like that. And for me, it would be like, okay, they just added this feature, you better use it. Okay. This gonna change your life, son. This gonna change it good. You ain't never gonna be the same. Alright, let's see. Let's see if compositionally. Tudo bem. Tudo bem, Brasil. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with this. So essentially what we're gonna do, you know what? I want to tilt the tail up. Let's give it a little bit of a curve. Okay, so what I want to do, it's not going to be just a dragon. Down over here, we're going to have, get this. I don't actually have, and I haven't sketched it out yet. Let's see if we can kind of sketch out something kind of rough. Let's see if we can, in fact, let's bring this over so we can see. So real quick, just kind of come out. It's going to be like this. Little pig. Okay, but he's going to be, let me see. Let's see if we can get like a, then we'll probably give him like a sword. I want him to be like this, like this monk pig or something, since it's Year of the Pig. Okay, so we'll have his little cloak kind of flowing out in the wind or something like that. I don't know, something like that. We'll have to figure out what it's like. But that's kind of like a bit of the idea of what I've got in my head. So I've got this. So I either want to do something like that, where it's samurai pig, or a monk pig kind of coming after this dragon. And you know, I've got, you know, different ideas or whatever of how this could, you know, how this could work. but the main idea, so I've got that, and then one of the other things that I was thinking of is doing kind of like a Mario and Bowser sort of thing, but instead of Bowser, obviously it'd be a dragon, and then instead of Mario, it would be whatever character I decide to put in there. I want to stay away from the idea of doing something straight from Candyland. I want to do something inspired by Candyland or by Sugar Rush. Kind of like what we were talking about with Wreck-It Ralph. Great book, by the way. You know, if you ever get a chance to check it out from the library or to you know, pick it up, or you know, whatever, Christmas, birthday, whatever. Okay, so let me see if I feel like I like this. What I want to do now, yeah, let's just commit that. I think that could be good enough to commit to. Since we have this drawn out, let's say split, unmasked. Okay, so now we've got this, our dragon piece. Okay, it's its own separate subtool. I want to make sure that it's all the way down to the bottom. I like to organize my things in a way that I can easily know what I'm looking for and where to find it. So one of the things I like to do is I'll organize things like scene on top, characters on bottom, or characters on top, scene on bottom. However I do it, it's in that sort of order, so you can go through and sort of find things fairly easily. Some of these things, though, I want to go ahead and get rid of them. So I'm going to take this, since this is an old piece that I don't need anymore. I'm just going to say delete. Okay. This is an old piece that I don't need anymore. I'm going to say delete. Okay. If I decide I need them again, I can go back to my older versions from previous weeks or whatnot, and it'll be just fine. Okay, so we've got... that's right, I had joined some of them together. Okay, so this is our plain Oreo that we had. So this is just the when we box modeled it out, you know, used our Z modeler. Really simple. I really like this, guys. So far we've had interaction from all three platforms. We've had interaction from Twitch, from YouTube, and also from Facebook. So I at least know that it's working, that it's connecting. So that's pretty stellar. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't need this anymore. Let's go ahead and let's delete it. Just trying to get rid of whatever pieces I don't actually need. I'm gonna say delete, okay. Delete, okay. These are these licorice bamboo that I'd put in, which are not working. So I'm just going to go ahead and say delete. Okay. One of the cool things, I don't have them loaded in yet, but I could easily go through and load them. So load brush. I've created a whole bunch of different brushes for this project, right? So some of them that I've gone through and I've made a licorice brush, okay, which is cool. It's got the puffy side and it's got the flat side, okay. This is just a standard curve, tri-parts, okay. So you have it capped on the ends. It's not quite as perfect as I'd like. I'd like it to be a little bit more tapered at the end, but I rushed through it. Maybe I'll go through and I'll refine it at some point. Not a big deal. Okay, anyway, so we got that, you know. And we will be using licorice for parts of this. I do want to go through and think about different ways to be able to compose this. He's not going to be created from one big piece of candy. He's going to be created from lots of little pieces of candy. And so he'll get things like candy corn, probably, He'll probably get sugar floss for the hair, or what are those called? The candy tongues. Ghosted Christmas Future. Dude, long time no see. Have you looked at pottery from that region for inspiration for this? Doing a project in Ceramics 1 based on an old piece, and there are a lot of great patterns in Andean pottery. That is very true. That is very true. It's funny because like the research I've done for this project has been very, very minimal. It's not non-existent, it's just very, very minimal. Let's go ahead and rename this Dragon Base. Essentially what I'll do, I want to think about making the different pieces as different things. I'm trying to decide how much scale I want to show in this. So for instance, like with the back scales, I don't know if I want it to be more like he's one long gumdrop and he's just got like these sugar crystals all over him, or if I want him to be scaly and have like little sugar wafers or something all over his back. Trying to figure that part out. That's kind of the tricky one. But I do know some things that I want to do around his face. So really quickly, what I want to do, let's go ahead and say clone. Okay, so this way we're working on a clone of the object. Okay, I'm just going to save this out so that we've got it. I'm just going to call it dragon because it's a dragon, or it's going to be. Okay, Control Shift D, and we're just going to come down and hit initialize. There she blows. Let's go ahead and pop that in the center, make sure that's nice and square. Okay, cool. So I want to make sure that I've got my symmetry turned on. And let's go through and let's start shaping out this dragon's face. Okay, and now before I get all the hate mail about environments versus characters, and this is supposed to be about environments. This is supposed to be about environments supporting characters and telling stories, and so just wanted to make sure that I defend myself before there's all the hate mail. Just kidding, there really isn't a ton of hate mail, but you know, whatever. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's go ahead and take this and we will move it forward. We'll shrink it in, we'll shrink it forward. It's funny, for supper tonight we went to this pho noodle place across the road, and oh, I love their stuff. I've always loved their noodles. So good. They prepare it, it's so flavorful, and it's pretty inexpensive, and it's awesome. It's just great. Anyway, so first time we went there, the kids ate and ate and ate, and they would not stop. But then I think they got all noodled out, and they were just, I think that they're just kind of sick of it now. Let me see, let's go up to geometry, let's say crease PG. And we're going to hit dynamic subdivisions. Let's say dynamic up to 2, and the creasing level down to 1. You know what? I don't know what that does. I do know that this is what I want. So what I'm going to do is go to dynamic, we'll say apply, delete lower, and now we're just going to start sculpting. Actually, let's see. I do want to be able to maintain the halves. So what I'm going to do, you see perspective is turned off. So let's see, modify topology, delete hidden. Groovy. Okay, so one of the things I want to do actually, because I don't want, I want to be able to better control the shape of what I get through here. I'm going to hit bridge edges. I'm just going to kind of bridge across here and here. And maybe I'll do one on the top, one on the bottom as well, just to make sure that I get the shape that I want through here when I go ahead and hit Dynamesh, because that's what I'm about to do. And in fact, we can come over here, we can say close holes, just to make sure that we have that shape there. And now we can go over Dynamesh. Let's try it at a resolution of 16. That is way, way low. Okay, guys, this is where we're going to want to go through and play with settings now. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, I don't really know. Anyway, so let's go through, let's start figuring out this dragon's head. Okay. So what's everybody else working on lately? Anybody have any cool projects going on? It's going to go ahead and essentially get 2 different polygroups. Okay, so that way I can easily mask the top half when I'm working on the bottom half, etc. Like this. Whoa. Okay. Now we're gonna really refine this shape. Okay, let's see if we can, let's use our clip curve. Clip curve is a fantastic tool. I really, really like using it, mostly because it allows me to create, use it in symmetry. None of these other curve type brushes for clipping or trimming or whatnot, none of those other ones work in symmetry, and so it's kind of a hard thing to deal with. Okay, so let's start pulling this down. I don't want to make this dragon exactly. I mean, this is my own design, but I want to take some liberties with it. So, I mean, a lot of things will change because we'll be eventually constructing it out of candy, different candy pieces. So we'll get different gummies and things like that. Things with texture, things with fun shape. Just kind of smooth that out some. These eyes, I want these eyes to be like opossum eyes. Quintonius just started on this mermaid character in brush. Hit concept from Chris Sanders. Dude, I love Chris Sanders. He is total stud. Super, super good designer. Very, very tricky style to hit. So that'll be a really, really cool piece for you when you totally nail it. 1912 Underwood typewriter, dude, that'll be awesome. So what made you choose to do a typewriter? Are you super interested in like talking to you, Mitchell Bauer? You interested in like hard surface stuff, or do you like the detail of it? Let's see. Cool. So what's your emphasis? Yeah, Quintonius for sure. Yeah, send me an email or a message on Facebook or something if you need feedback on something. Got a little buddy down in Brazil that's been writing me quite a bit lately, actually, with some really cool progress on a project that he's been working on. Kind of his own design. He's a student in high school, I believe. He's 17. He's doing some super stellar, cool stuff. Okay, right now, I don't know if you guys notice or even care, but right now, the only brush that I've been using is the clay buildup. I love clay buildup, and it just gives me this kind of organic, rough sculpting sort of feel, and I really like that. It makes me feel like I'm really working with something more tangible, and I really enjoy that. Hard surface prop modeling. Cool. Yeah, looking cool so far. Art Institute, Pittsburgh. Those swords look really pretty neat, especially the hilt. I think that if you were to get more stuff like that, I think that would be just golden for you. Be absolutely golden. me see if I can get this to be more the shape that I want. Tanks are cool, but a lot of people put tanks into their portfolio as a student. I didn't, but a lot of people do, and I know that that's something that when I was in school, that was one of the things that people recommended not putting into their portfolio, or things that were really simple like tanks. Something that a friend of mine over at the mill recommended as a good idea for people to go through and do. His name is Paul Liao. Really just phenomenal sculptor and artist. What he recommended was doing something really complex, and yeah, something that they see a lot are things like supercars, things like that. He said that's cool, but something else that would be better is something like a fancy computer case or something like that. Yeah, I should go look him up. Paul Liao, super awesome artist. Okay. And he said that one of the things that they like to see is having accurate holes over a curved surface. Which, you know, if you're just flat out sculpting, then, you know, that's really easy to do. But if you're going to take that in and make it something that's ready for production, for commercial, for film, animation, you know, 3D printing, for whatever, anything where you need topology, then that's what they want to see. They want to see really clean, crisp, complex geometry that really illustrates that you know what you're talking about, and that you can also yeah, just really just that you know what you're talking about. It's like one of the things that a lot of people will go through and do, including a couple people that I got portfolios from recently. They do a lot of either ZBrush sculpting or really just overly simple models, things that don't have any form changes. It's just a lot of like boxes with final textures on them. It's really something that you gotta make sure that you're looking at what kind of job you want, and make sure that your portfolio shows that you can do that kind of work. It's stressful, but that's the kind of stress that helps lead you to really getting what it is that you're hoping to get. It's always a tricky thing to. It's always the worst when somebody sends me their portfolio and I feel like, you know, yeah, you're working really hard and just trying to figure out how to tell you how to tell you you're not ready for work yet. What are your guys' suggestions? Have you guys gotten those sorts of feedback before? And well, how did you take it? I know that I've gotten that sort of feedback before, quite a bit. Quite a bit. Not as much anymore. Because I mean, I can give myself that kind of feedback. Sometimes it takes a little while after having done the project to really realize how bad it is. But yeah, I know that when I would get that sort of feedback, sometimes it felt, especially like earlier on, it felt like the world was trying to come out and get me. It felt like, because I mean, all my friends would tell me like, "Oh, you're so good, and you're so great. Oh, look at that. Wow, I wish I was as good as you," whatever. And it's nice to hear, but it would have been nicer to have heard, "Man, like, you're not very good with form, or you're not very good with perspective, or you're not very good with, whatever." Yeah, those sorts of feedback are like super invaluable. Let me see. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep it really open like this, or if I want to. Let's try it for now. Oh, so Mitchell, I'll be putting out a tutorial series later on this year that deals with hard surface stuff, especially stuff that relates to this guy. Oh, where is the sticker? I had a sticker. A whole bunch of stuff got jammed into my desk and I can't get to anything. This technique, I'll be going through and I'll be covering how to create those sorts of robots. Yeah, and Michael Pavlovich is also super awesome and helpful for those sorts of things. The hard thing with Mike's tutorials is that he doesn't really have, he has some tutorial series that are very direct and to the point, but he also, when he streams, he goes through and he bounces around depending on whatever the questions are, people coming in, which is great. I think that is fantastic, and it's extremely helpful. I can't tell you how often I walk away from his streams feeling like I just grew a foot, like I'm starting to sprout little ZBrush wings because of Mike. Okay, so we got ourselves something of a head. Let's go ahead, let's use our curved tube. It should still have some of the modifiers attached to it, but I don't want it to have such a thin start. I'm going to flip, not vertically, let's flip horizontal. Okay, so we're going to try this. Not nearly big enough. Okay, did you guys see that How to Train Your Dragon comes out February 22nd. I just had to say, because I mean it's exciting, because I worked on it, and so I'm excited to see it. I am so excited to see it. 5 months of my life given to that little moon boy. This is feeling quite a bit too big. Okay, just gonna shrink that in a little bit. Let's pull this over something like that could work. That could work. Is there a pig dragon to represent New Year's? So there's, I was kind of talking about this before you got here, I guess, Vincent, but I'm hoping to go through and do some sort of like pig warrior that's fighting the dragon on the ground. So the reason why I'm wanting to get to the dragon kind of early is I want to be able to I want to have the dragon affect the environment, and be able to kind of tweak and build them out around each other. I feel like it would be helpful in the grand scheme of things. Okay. Daniel, how you doing? So the surprise is that I'm starting to work on some of the storytelling elements. I had another surprise, but I've lost it, and so it might have to wait until next week. But thanks. Yeah, Quintonius was disappointed as well. Okay, hopefully mine won't look very Mushu like when he's done. Actually, let's turn off that main body. Let's actually, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to try to open up my ZBrush. Okay, this should be it. Hey Danny, how you doing? Okay, let's hit solo on these. Okay, so I created a series of different eyes. I have them available for purchase too, in case anybody was interested. They're up on my Gumroad. But what I want to do is I want to take this sculpted predator eye. Okay, you see it's got everything. It's all modeled in. Okay, I'm going to take this. I want to append it over into my dragon. Okay, so it's pretty big. Let's turn on transparency so we can see. Okay, so the way that I want this to work. Okay, so you can see in the sketch, I mean, it's a huge, long eye. So what I want to do so just to be able to address this really quick, one of the things that I did was I dragged out the main silhouette, the body flow. So this is addressing Westware on Twitch. Said, just joined a bit ago. Have you talked about the decision to work with the head rather than the overall body shape silhouette? Is that specific to this model or your overall workflow? So the way that I'm going to work for this specifically is I'm going to be creating the head first. Okay, so this is why I've got my head started. Oh, cancel. I've got my head started. That looks really goofy with the eye like that. I need to fix it. So I want to work on the head separate from the body, and I want to work on the body in pose, just because it is so complex, and I want to be able to add in different details that I don't want to have stretch. So like if I decide that I want to have scales along his back, I don't want those scales to stretch. There are a few things that I can do. Like I could go through if I wanted and have a curve brush with scales on it that I could drag out and imitate the exact same flow. Or like what I'm doing right now is I have it dragged out. Come on, I keep hitting the wrong buttons. I have it dragged out in the flow and the shape that I want going around, and then I'm actually going to be using insert mesh brushes to, in a very controlled way, create the rest of the body of the dragon. It will take a little bit longer. Okay, it'll take a bit longer, but it'll be controlled, and it'll be something that I can go through and manipulate in the way that I want, so that I can make sure that it's tailored to fit my needs. That night I can decide if I don't want to actually detail the side that's around behind the back of the mountain. I can wait for that for now. But yeah, so kind of all right. Hopefully that answers your question there, Wes. Let's come over here. Let's deform this eye into place now. This speck, I don't need it. Oh, come on. So I'm just going to get rid of it for now. You're welcome. It's a very long-winded answer, but it's an answer. You could use nanomesh to create the scales, and I might experiment with that a little bit. Not entirely sure yet. It's one of those things that we'll have to see as we get along, as we move along. You see, that's not working the way that I'd like. So let's see, let's grow that a little bit. Let's actually delete hidden. So where's everybody tuning in from? I know that we have some typical folks from the UK. It's starting to look fun, but definitely a long way from what I want it to look like. California. What part of Northern California? Are you in the Bay Area, or are you in further north, closer to like Yosemite and whatnot? All the way from the other side of Twitch. Ballarat, Australia. Awesome. Hundreds of ways to sculpt a character. Always good to have some insight. Nashville. Cool. Couple hours above Sacramento. Okay. So you've probably got a lot cooler and wetter weather than we're getting right now. Let's narrow this in quite a bit. Let's make this much, much thinner. I'm trying to decide how much I should balance the idea of him being fun versus him being a predator. If I want him to be more predatory, thorough winter. Ain't that the truth? Living in LA now. Where are you from originally, Quintonius? I can't remember. Okay, right now I'm just kind of using some masking. I kind of like the idea of that being longer. You're getting tornadoes as well? Man. I remember when I was a kid, I was born in Texas, and I just remember that one year we got hit by these tornadoes, and oops. I'm like losing my head on what it is that I'm trying to do. Such is life, right? That's just how it goes. We had a tornado when I was about 4. I think I was maybe like 4 years old. And I remember it. I remember it fairly well, and it's kind of odd. Okay, this is not going to work for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grow this out a little bit. can kind of do this and pull it down. And now we can use all the fun. Oh, nerds, come on. Right here could work. What I want is I just want this to be pretty parallel to this bottom section, so that I can do, not rotate. Okay, good. Okay, with the move tool, I can just kind of take it and move it like that. And that helps to give me more of like this dish sort of effect. Of course, now I've got to come in here. Pull that down. That's not working quite as well as I'd like. So let's try this instead. Yeah, trying to decide if this should be a fun, playful dragon, but because of it being dangerous, the monk's trying to just protect its mountaintop. Or if I want to, there we go, we can just kind of use the alternative function on our move brush to be able to get some of that dimpling on the roof of the mouth. So I'm not sure if what I want is to make him fun and playful, or if I want him to be mirror and weld, or if I want him to be more sinister and dangerous. Okay. So if I want him to be more sinister and dangerous, I could make the brows a bit more present, and maybe I should just block in the hair, because he's got this mane kind of coming up behind his horns. So maybe once I get that in, and maybe these little eyebrow thingies too, the little whiskers on the side of his nose, maybe once I get these sorts of things in there, maybe he'll feel less friendly. Okay, it's kind of tricky. Move to LA so I can sneak into Disney and just start working on a computer. Someone sees me, I'll just say I'm the new guy. Can't remember if it was Steven Spielberg or if it was George Lucas, but that's how one of the two of those guys got started, which is really kind of funny to me. So for those of you who know, I am huge into chocolate. Okay, I love chocolate, but I recently got a new love. Chili spiced mangoes. Chili spiced mangoes. But I still have a little bit of my Pound Plus chocolate bar. Plus, is it up here? It is indeed up here. More chocolate. There's a... This is some Mondo chocolate. Okay, and this is just a super, super small piece of it. Now, my mother-in-law gets these all the time, like huge, massive bars of chocolate. And of course, she never eats them. She keeps keeping them because she knows I like them. And it's really, really funny. So she goes ahead, she keeps them, usually in like large bags in the freezer. And she'll always tell me, "Ay chocolate." The reason why I went ahead and grabbed a few chunks was so that I could go ahead and use those as reference for that mountaintop. What I want to do with that mountaintop, this is where it starts to get more fantastical and really, really neat. I want to take the mountaintop and have it so that it's cut in a couple of little pieces and little chunks, and have them so that they're just kind of floating there, and it's just kind of part of the mystery and the fantasy of it all, you know, making it something even more more fantastic. Hey, thanks Wes for coming in. It was fun having you around. Having lots of fun. Okay, right now he's very, very rough. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so far I'm liking this though. So far I'm liking this. So what we're gonna do, let's do the same thing. Let's go over to curved tubes. Let's play with the stroke shape. Okay, bring it up to something like that. Bring it down so that the start's pretty small. What I want to do is I want to imitate some of the shapes that I have going on with his the hairs right here on like his eyebrows. And so I want it to get thicker toward the end. I want it to stay kind of thick. I want it to start pretty thin, but not all the way thin, right? So let's drag out a couple of these little pieces. It's starting to get there. It's not going long enough. It's getting too thin. Okay, so let's come over here, burst that up. That's better. Okay, so this is the kind of shape of something that I want. Hey, Atomic Toys, dude, how are you doing? Okay, figure drawing is great, Quintonia. So one of the things that I recommend looking into, look at the Center Stage Gallery. Okay. At the Center Stage Gallery. They do that weekly. Okay. And that is a fantastic opportunity to go ahead and be able to meet people, to be able to appearance. Let's see. Trying to figure out. It doesn't matter. Back to chat. But yeah, definitely check out the Center Stage Gallery. It's a great place. There are a ton of people that go there, and there are a lot of people that really, really enjoy, you know, kind of the ambiance and whatnot. I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of candy for these at some point, but for now, It's gonna end up being just a little whisker thing here. Dude, I hate it when that happens. When it's super early in the, well, not even super early. I mean, it's just a little bit early, and you end up being awake way too early, and you can't really do anything about it, except, you know, lie awake until your alarm clock goes off or whatnot, you know. It's just kind of funny. I had that happen this morning, actually. Okay, good. Okay, so we're starting to get some of these whiskers out of here. I want to use polygroups, auto groups, and then just for the sake of making sure it's the same on both sides, I'm going to mirror and weld. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, dude, you'll have to tell me how it goes. I used to go to those really, really frequently. I don't go to them as frequently anymore. Actually, I haven't gone to them for a while. But it's always a costumed model. Very, very relaxed, very chill environment. And yeah, I mean, it's just fun. It's just good. Hey man, had my first kid on the way, due in July. How do you balance 3D work and family? Danny, you don't. It's funny. It's like I like to use the analogy of the Chinese plate spinners, where, you know, they always have their poles kind of going. Oh, congratulations, by the way. It's awesome. It's really good news. I'm really, really happy for you. Being a dad is fun. It's one of those things where it's like they've got their plates spinning on top of those poles, and sometimes they'll have a dozen plates going at the same time, and they've got to keep each of those spinning or else one of them's going to fall. One of the things that you're going to want to make sure of is that the plate that represents your family is the one that's always spinning the best. You know, it can be hard sometimes being a creative and having a family, because you get so many ideas, and then, yeah, it's just really easy to put the family on the back burner. But dude, I swear, like, the more you put your family first, and the more you yeah, the more you take care of them, the more they take care of you. It's a good deal. I promise. Yeah, no pressure. Just keep that plate spinning. Yeah, because it's like when you become a dad, I mean, you share the responsibilities with your wife. Okay, but as a husband and father, you have the responsibility to go through and where's mask? Okay, there it is. Sorry. You have the responsibility to provide and protect and preside, and the more you can do so and watch after your family, I feel like the more satisfaction you get from doing creative work, the more satisfaction you get from working in general. It's tricky, but it's really cool. Konnichiwa. Hey, Thomas is here. How you doing, dude? I'm just, goofing off and playing and hoping that somebody likes what I do. Okay, if you guys aren't familiar with Thomas's work, he's the one that's up there underneath T.S. Whittlebach. Really just super nice guy, and he's also a streamer on here, and he teaches classes, and he does jewelry, like awesome jewelry. So if you ever get a chance to meet him, he's a fun one to chat with. He is a fun one to chat with. So, come out to the ZBrush Summit. He's hard to miss. He's hard to miss. Very friendly guy. Alright. Okay, so for right now, I think this is what this is gonna look like. And let's say, I'm going to say merge visible. And what this will do is it actually makes a new tool. So you can see merge dragon. Oh, you know what? That's because the horns didn't smooth out the way I would have liked. Let's do this. Let's split hidden. Let's come over here. Okay, so Control D. Maybe even just once. Okay, now we can merge back down. Okay, so now we've got this head that we can play with. And Shane's super grandpa now too. I like to tease him about that every once in a while. Okay, I want to go through, let's actually change the flow on this some. And then let's get some of this kind of coming in here. Oh dude, have you guys been watching anything cool on Netflix lately? One of the things that I've been that I started just the other day, I haven't gotten to sit down and actually watch it all the way through or anything like that. It seems to be the life of a working artist. Is Io, which is the I think it's one of Jupiter's moons. Anyway, so it's about this, essentially Earth has gone toxic, and it's in an attempt to be able to preserve humanity they've kind of fleed the earth and have gone on to populate Io, which is, you know, a moon somewhere, you know. And yeah, I super enjoy these. It's so dumb, but it's so cool. Anyway, okay, let's come over here to the dragon. Let's say insert merge dragon head. Let's actually move this up. Okay, so right now, since I have this dragon head and I also have this body, I want to come over and let's just position it. This is where my symmetry doesn't matter anymore. This is purely for the sake of me figuring out some pose, some scale, some, you know, things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll use our rotate. Okay, I want it to feel like he's looking really down. The Punisher. I love that series, dude. I liked the first season much better than the second one. I feel like, oh, you're rewatching Punisher. That's all right. That's all right. Frank Castle's a pretty cool dude. And I'm sure the people that made Punisher probably don't mind having the extra views. So you can feel good about that. I'm going to title that Merge Dragon Head so that I don't have to worry about things not being quite right. And let's come in here and let's add in this Merge Dragon Head in here so that we can see what's coming on in here, how it fits into our scene, and see if there's anything that we need to do to be able to reposition it. Right now, I need him to be looking more over in this direction. So let's go to our top view and kind of fix that. Okay, that's going to be much better. I'm probably going to have to play around with this tree and make sure that it doesn't feel like it's going to be poking him in the eye. And eventually I want to go through and play around with some of the fiber mesh stuff to be able to start to get the cotton candy look figured out. Did anybody watch Pablo Munoz in his last stream? Super cool. I love watching that guy sculpt. I love watching him work. And I love hearing his talking through his process. I feel like it's extremely helpful to me. A ver. Timeline. Share. Load. I need to go to Candyland. Views 2. Looks like it's having. There we go. Resize document to fit the track, of course. Yes. Okay, so now we can just draw this back out. So there we go. So currently, it's not quite fitting in there. Let me see. Right here we're getting kind of a fun angle. So we'll keep that view for now. That'll be helpful in going through and deciding how to repose this tree. But for this, what we want to do is we want to zoom it out some. Yeah, it was funny. So yeah, he was at the summit. He actually participated in the live sculpt off. Did an awesome job. Totally killed it. Yeah, I think I might want to make this guy a little bit bigger. Need to make that head a little bit bigger. But oh, that's so much better. Oh, so much better. Composition wise, it's not the best, but you know, it'll do. Anyway, so during the summit, poor guy, he had to go through and get ready for his presentation on the Saturday. And the night before, I didn't get myself water today. What a foolish person. Anyway, the night before, he needed to be able to get back to his apartment to be able to prepare. Some of the other folks were going to get together and go out or whatever, get food, but instead, he went back to his apartment to be able to prepare. He cares very much about his craft and delivering the absolute best. So I was able to go ahead and give him a ride home and yeah, it was cool. Just had a good time chatting and just a lot of fun. Okay, let me see if I think I sketched it out last night in the dark. Kind of. So maybe what I want to do, I'm trying to decide if I want to have the tail this long wispy thing. I kind of like it. Yeah, I kind of like it. So we'll keep it this long wispy thing. Okay, let's kind of zoom in a little bit, scroll over something so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to do, wow, it's not very big at all. That's kind of funny. Let's get to work. Okay, so we know that this dragon head, we needed it to be a little bit bigger. I don't remember how much bigger I made it. So we'll probably just have to go through and resize it again later when we bring it in after having redone it again. So let's do this. We're going to hit Control S to be able to save. Once it's done saving, there we go. Look at that. Look at how different that looks now. Because we changed the position and the scale, I think that that's working so much better. Bobby Chu's new expo, huh? You know what, let's come over here. Let's merge in this new dragon head. And we'll get rid of the old one. Okay. I have not heard actually of Bobby Chu's new art expo. Is this something that he's doing independent of? Actually, maybe I have. Does it have to do with schoolism? Okay, let me see. So since I saved this, I can go ahead and I'm just going to hit the R button right here, which will go through and it'll actually pull out all the other tools that I have open over here, except for the one that I have selected. Okay, so now everything else is closed. If I want to be able to open up my scene again, I can just load tool, and then I can select my my Candyland scene. I'm just going to worry about this for right now, and let's think about different Lightbox Expo. I'll have to look that up. When is that going to be happening? Okay, so now that I've got this, let's just turn all of this off. Let's turn the other stuff on. Pasadena in September. Dude, you gonna go? Bobby Chiu is absolutely brilliant. For those of you who aren't aware of who Bobby Chiu is, he's an illustrator. I'm pretty sure he started Schoolism, which is like an online school for illustrators and concept artists and storyboard artists and all sorts of stuff. But really, really talented, really nice guy. And very generous in his in how he gives to the art community, everything that he does for the art community. So that's probably something that's really, really worth checking into. So he hasn't released a price for tickets for that then? That'll be interesting to know. That will be interesting to know. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to go ahead and just reshape this mouth to somewhat match what we did with the other version. I want to try to bring some of the flowiness that we had in that other version to this, just so that it's not so flat and boring. Just trying to be careful to oops. You see how I got that little bit of a bubble right there? And that stroke is because it accidentally hit this this angle a little bit, and so it really tweaked how that brush affected the surface. Ça va bien? I don't know a lot of French, so I try to impress her with the little bit that I do know. Oops. I've also got to think about what kind of tongue I'd like him to have if I want him to. It's always kind of funny to me. I don't know if you guys ever had. Next stream should be titled "How to Get a Wife." My wife just glared. It's not a good idea. Just be you, Quintonius. Just be you. So it's kind of a funny moment for me, you know, talking about the tongue for the dragon. Okay, it was kind of a funny moment for me when I realized that some different characters have multiple tongues. Like that one really strange guy from Lilo and Stitch, the one that has like the tentacle legs and the one eye and the antenna off of his head. I can't remember what his name is. I don't know. He was always like wigging out about everything. It's kind of funny, but he has two tongues. And then there are different characters like, let me see. Did Toothless have two tongues? I can't remember now. I think Toothless only has one, but it's forked. That's what it is. Kind of funny. Kind of funny. So, you know, just thinking about just little things like that. I'm trying to think about how to get that sort of fun into the... Ooh, the Twizzler pull and peel. You know those? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's see if I can find my... Here's what I need to do. Okay, so let's load brush. I need to go look for it because must-haves SMA rope. Okay, this is a rope brush that I'd made not long ago, and I mean, it'll only be so helpful to me in creating. Hey, look at that. That's kind of fun. That's actually really fun. Just because it's mirrored and so it has this really cool weave look to it. Anyway, so the thing that I want to do, let's come back over here. I want to pull it straight out from the center. I have symmetry on while I do that, which is fine. What I want to do now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap to be able to commit it. Oh, we need to split it. Okay, let's say split unmasked parts. Okay, let's come down here. Oh, not append. Rename, please. Just going to rename that to tongue. Okay, so first thing I want to do, let's go ahead, polygroups and auto groups. You'll see I've only got 2 polygroups. This brush was made in such a way that it's all a single piece, and you can see it's just capped here on the end. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create an end for this where it forks out into 3 pieces because it's the pull and peel, and so it makes kind of like that forked tongue sort of shape. And I'm trying to decide if that'll be long enough. Let me see. Yeah, it's not going to be quite long enough. So here's what we're going to do. Let's move it up over here, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, we're just going to take the brush, and this time I'm just going to click and drag it out until it feels like it's too long. I'd rather have it be too long and then trim off part of it than have it not be long enough, like we did the first time. Alright, so now that we've got this, okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to commit it, auto groups, okay, and then we'll just pick one of them, okay. Notice that got rid of our first one too, so we can go ahead and we go geometry, delete hidden. Now we got our one piece, okay. Really, really simple. I'm just going to drag this back to the beginning. Okay, so you see now it's coming from the back. I can pull this. Yeah, I won't pull it down yet. That's fine. Okay, so now what we want to do, let's come up and let's get rid of this end cap. Okay, let's hit delete, poly loop, turn off symmetry because it's obviously not helping us right now. Delete island. Okay, so now we can go through and we can start creating the intersection right here. So I'm just gonna solo that out. Okay, bridge that to here. Oh, actually I got the wrong one. That one. To there. Okay. And try to get those inner corners to each other so I get a continuation. So I feel like then it should be easier for me to go ahead and see, there we go. To go ahead and I can just hit close. I want to say convex hole. Actually, no, I won't actually close that yet. Let's leave that open for now. We might actually need to just go ahead and keep bridging for now. Bridge edges. Groovy. Okay, get that one, this one, to this one, to this one. Okay, so now we got to think a little bit more, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that hey Julio, how you doing, man? Hey Julio, he's on Facebook, chiming in. He's actually going to be starting to stream pretty soon as well, right? When do they have you starting on the live streaming? I got to meet him at the ZBrush Summit too. He's really nice. Really talented sculptor as well. And it's fun to see his passion, his excitement. He got really excited when he was showing his stuff to the guys from Sideshow, and really cool stuff. This Captain America head. Hey May, how you doing? Okay, let me see. So let's say let's do this. We'll just go ahead and we'll close these. March. Cool. Cool. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll say close. The rock star. Nah. You know what? I'm going to want some edges coming through here. So what I'm going to say insert single edge loop. And this is going to be like not as clean and precise as I like, but whatever. The reason why I want to keep this clean is because I want to be able to use my Z modeler actions to create a more a cleaner, more predictable extrusion when I pull out the other strands that'll be coming out the end. So what I'm going to do is say point action. I'm going to say stitch to midpoint. Let's make it smaller because it's driving me nuts that it's so big. Alright, so get that one together. Get these points together. Okay, let me see. Let's change it to end point and kind of stitch it along. Stitch it along. Okay. So now I can go over here and say close. Say polygroup flat. Okay. Let's do single poly for right now. Polygroup island. Okay, so now I've got these as 3 different colors, which is great. Okay, let's go ahead. Invert that. Cool. Now let's see if we can get this to polish out nicely. Yes. Okay. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, let's go ahead and we'll say QMesh. Actually, let's say extrude. Let's say extrude polygroup island. Well, it's funny. So one of the things I'm trying to get better at is not looking like this the whole time, you know, like where I've got that intense focus face and it's like the focus is dripping from my lip. It's like drool. It's like, I don't know, whatever. It's it's dumb. Whoa, where did that come from? Okay, so we're gonna need to polygroup, single poly. Now you can see right here, this is giving me a polygon that has the wrong color. Okay, I want it to be the same pink color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this and hold it, and then hold shift. You'll see it turns back to pink. Okay, and now I can go ahead and tap on that and it'll give me that same pink. So it looks like we're good now. Let's go back to extrude. Now we're getting something. we'll just tap that and tap that. Okay, let me see if we can go ahead and start. Let's hit slide. So what I'm trying to do right now, let's kind of round this out some. Because if it's too sharp, then it's just going to feel not like a Twizzler. Okay, let's polygroup these so they're different. Okay. So it begins. Be myself. I'll just have my focus face on the... My dad does the same thing when he focuses. It's kind of funny. Okay, let's get this in the center here. The other thing I want to do is let's insert multiple edge loops. Yeah, we'll set that to there. We'll say same polygroup. Okay, that should be good. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to use my rotate tool. Now this is a really cool function of this rotate tool, guys. So I have the transpose line drawn out. It's right here in the center. Okay. What I want to do with this is I want to make sure that this center circle is above the top of these top of the ends of the things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to twist it. This is just going to help me get a little bit extra kind of turn on this. If I wanted to, I could also move it further down. Be able to get a little bit extra turn. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of take this, just hit polish a little bit. Okay, and now it's starting to give me a little bit of that unraveled Twizzler look. It's not long enough, so what I'm going to do, let's do this. Let's unmask these top portions. And let's use the move, and we're just going to pull it out. Same thing, we're going to click and drag out from there. Make sure that's going up along the length of it. Use the hand, oh shoot. Make sure that's long enough so that it's going above. And then we can go down below just to make sure that it's twisting just a little bit. Now what's cool is that we can take, interesting, we're just going to take these 3 pieces, okay, and I want to go ahead and give them different, I want them to all be different polygroups. So I'm going to start by coming in here, polygroup, and we're going to say polyloop. I'm just going to do this different colors for each one. Okay, and then polygroup, change it back to polygroup island. And remember how we don't want it to be that same color. So if I hold shift, after I've clicked on it, I can go ahead and select that polygroup and apply it to the other island. So click, shift, release, click, and you're still holding shift. Let go of shift, and now you can click on that other island. Now you got these 3 different 3 different pieces right there. So cool. Okay, let's kind of polish that a little bit, just so that it gets rid of that hard edge. Now what I can do is I can take these, and with the move function on the transpose line, I can hold Alt and just kind of move them around, hold Alt in the different sections, and it'll give me different functions. Tell you what, guys, they were thinking when they made Alt the alternative button. Definitely, definitely, definitely a really cool, simple part of the standard ZBrush functionality. Oops. That did not at all go where I wanted it to go. All right, there we go. Whenever I use these, the transpose line, I try to make sure that it's always extended past the stuff that I want it to affect. Otherwise, it's only really going to affect things that are within its limit, within its boundaries. Okay, so that's kind of going all right. Okay, so far that's kind of the only thing that I've got going for me that's been all candy-fied. Oh, maybe I should make these little chunk hair pieces around his eyes and around his nose. Maybe make those like Mike and Ike's or something like that. That would be awesome. Or, you know, something that resembles them somewhat. Probably use like yellow Mike and Ike's or something like that for his teeth, or candy corn I want to use for the claws on his hands, because I think that would be pretty epic. And it's like it's the right colors, right? I mean, you get kind of like the orange close to the base of the thumbnail, and then as you get closer to the end, I mean, it's newer or older rather nail, so it kind of imitates the idea of the grime and whatnot. Yeah, so let's see. I'm open for suggestions on these horns though, because that's something that I need to figure out. The eyes are just going to be simple, like eyes, you know, very eye-like. Around here though, I want this to be like gummies, like Dante, how are you doing? So today I'm working on this dragon guy right here, and the idea. In fact, let me save this so that I don't lose it. Come back over here, save it to dragon. Yes, replace it. You know what I think I ought to do is I ought to have a local folder on my computer rather than on an external hard drive that I synchronize to. The reason why I synchronize to an external hard drive is because that's where I have my Dropbox files synced to. Anyway, so this is what we've got. We have this. We have our scene, and I'm wanting to start to bring in these storytelling elements. Okay, so I've got. It's kind of hard to see with how it's. Let's just kind of bring it over here. So I want to have, in the end, some sort of confrontation, or I want it to be some sort of, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want this to be a friendly dragon, or if I want this to be some sort of confrontation between the dragon and the, whatever other character I put in here, or group of characters. Maybe it's a dragon and it's a group of little pig monk characters that are fighting them off or something. I don't know. Got to figure it out. But that's kind of the fun of it. That's the chocolate bar horns. That's interesting. I don't know if that feels quite right for what I'm wanting it to feel like, though. I mean, I've already got a ton of chocolate in here, so I don't feel like I really want to use any more chocolate on, not on the characters anyway. Math wasn't fun at 10:30. What are you talking about? Llama dragon. You missed an L in there, bud. This is what you missed, Ghost of Christmas Future. So far I've gone through and I've added a tongue and made it the fun peeled Twizzlers. Ice cream cones, or even like that same sort of pattern. So maybe it's like waffle cone sort of pattern and it just has kind of that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. I'm going to write that down. Okay, let me see. One of the things that I want to do real quick, I'm going to come over here. Let's take this and turn this into, you forgot to do something that was due at 11:59. Hopefully you got it. Hopefully you got it done. All right. So what I want to do, I'm going to turn on my Gizmo 3D. Let's just center it up. Okay, and now I want to go to my IMM primitives, the capsule, which is great. You see that? Turned it into a capsule. Sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, or let's actually take let's take this, let's get rid of half of it. Geometry, delete hidden, position, come over here, hit 0 so that it's right in the center. 0 for the center, 0 for the center. Okay, so now I've got this piece right here. Let's come over and say, let's go into the standard curve tube brush. Okay, and then we'll say to mesh. Oh, that's so boring. Just kidding. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't at all what I was hoping it would be, but whatever. Okay, so what I want to do with this is I want to make it open-ended, okay, which makes it so that it can close on itself. If I were to wrap the curve, I'm making a curve brush, I want it to be open-ended so that it can wrap around and close on itself. The other thing that I want is I want it to be, you know, like on gummy worms, you get like those bumpy ridges, kind of like what I had on my Oreos. I want to do something like that. So let's go ahead, let's do this, delete hidden. Okay, let's say insert multiple edge loops. Let's come down to 3. Sounds good to me. And then let's get rid of that. Let's say interactive elevation. Okay. Okay, now we can go ahead and use this. Kind of scale it out. Let's unmask all of that and just scale that out as well. You know what? Yeah, no, I guess this will work, and then I can just kind of scale this out some or something like that. Let's try this. Let's see if this will work for me. Let's see if this will do what I want. Although I think it might work. You know what? I'm going to bring back this mask pen. This is kind of driving me nuts trying to mask lasso this. Look at how bad that got. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. In theory it should, right? Create, insert mesh, new. Sure, I'll just leave it like that for now. I'll probably be deleting it anyway. Stroke, curve, turn on curve, curve step, great. Brush, modifiers, curve resolution, change that up. Weld points, stretch. It doesn't really need triparts because it's not a tripart brush. We get this sort of thing. It's not quite what I want. What I want Yeah, so it's gonna be a dragon candy. Or candy dragon, rather. Dynamic brush. How you doing? How are you doing? Okay, let's see if we can try this one instead. Let's rename it. Gummy chain. Okay, brush, create, insert mesh. We're gonna say append. Skip this note. Let's actually come over here and dock it. Okay. So with this first one, we just go over here and we're just gonna say delete mesh. Let's make sure that it's on. Great. Modifiers, stretch, weld points, sweet. Okay, oh, that's good. Now what happens if I turn off stretch? How different will that look for me? Doesn't look super different. Okay. Now here's the question. Is this going to be what I want it to be? Let's go check it out. Let's see if we can get out of this what we want. So I want this brush to be able to go in and essentially kind of dress up the outer rim of the eyes. I can already tell it's not really what I want though. Let's try this again. But here's what I'll do. So we can have a gummy chain, and we can have a gummy chain 02, and oops, I'm too used to having that what's it called? Turned on now. The mask lasso. Geometry, crease. Gonna crease those. Okay. Okay, so let's come over here. Let's say create, insert mesh, append. Oops, I need to go through and modify that. It does have the curve turned on, which is great. The resolution I want to have up. I usually put it around 5. I wouldn't put the last one at 10, but it doesn't matter a whole lot. And what's nice is that with my subdivisions turned on, it makes it look like, well, because I put creasing in, it's going to keep that nice and crisp. Okay, that's an option. Let's go ahead and actually get rid of these. Oh, shoot. Okay, so let's get rid of those. And we're just going to make this cool. It's already named 3. So this way we've got brush ready. Okay, let's go ahead and let's try this again. append. Same thing. Let's make sure that triparts is off. Let's make sure the curve resolution is up. So that versus that versus that. Maybe it needs to be a little more subtle. So let's take this one. Let's rename it. Let me see. Let's try something like that. That looks better. That looks better. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's see about this brush. Just so that I can have it for later if I need it. Okay. I could, so I mean the interesting thing about going through and looking at reference is that sometimes reference isn't exactly what you want. So I mean I did try to go ahead and get the gummy worm sort of look with it, but I'm also trying to refer to things in Wreck-It Ralph, especially as it pertains to the lost my place, the race carts. Penelope's cart in particular is super awesome. She has these really cool wheels that I wish it showed it better. So it has some concepts. Here we go. Here we go. Concepts of the different candies and the wheels in there. Some of them are really, really helpful. So I'm looking at some of these things as a way of being able to kind of determine what it is that I'd like to do. And something that I really, really like from their designs is her back wheels. And her back wheels have kind of like that gummy sort of shape. Let me check this actually. Yeah, you know what? I think I like that best. Okay, so all I had to do is just change the the curve step. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so I'm just going to take that. So you see how by stroking that out like that, it went through and it closed it up? That is what we want. Make it a little bit bigger. Just trying to like pull on it a little bit to smooth out the shapes. Okay, let's say split, unmasked. So that's where we get our one shape out of it. Okay. And let's go ahead and let's add it to our dragon head. Okay, so let's say, yeah, right here's a good place. So we'll say insert that chain. Let's see if we can find where it's at. There it is. Wow. Oh yeah, I mean, if you wanted to share a link, go ahead, that's great. Thank you. I'm not very good at sharing links, but you can find me pretty much anywhere underneath this, Daniel. You can find me pretty much anywhere underneath this username. Okay. Okay, Ghost, you're gonna need to tell me a little bit about what it is I'm looking at. These are the ceramics that you were mentioning earlier. Is there a specific one that you were looking at and thinking, this is stellar? These are some really cool pieces, by the way. These are really fun. Okay, just gonna kind of stretch this out some. It's like one of the tricky things is that I want this to fit over these eyes, but I don't want them to feel so stringy. So stringy. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Instead of just having that there, let's actually use our brush, our gummy brush. Turn off local symmetry. Okay, that's too thick. Too thick. This might be alright though. In fact, this might be something where I need to go ahead and turn off symmetry and just do one side at a time. In this particular situation, it could really be helpful to just do one side and then figure out making sure that it's, you know, penetrating the surface enough I'm getting some buckling. It's too long, so I'm just gonna hold this and hold shift, get rid of some of that length. Now we're just gonna kind of pull and stretch it out so that it's oh hey, look at that. It just bridged it together, which is pretty spanking cool. I'm gonna like that. Sweet. Alright. Okay, so now that's really close to what we want. I'm going to take my move, just gonna pull it around some. See if I can finish up just this thing, and maybe we'll add some quick materials to it, and then we'll just call it a night for tonight. I'm really kind of liking this clamshelling effect up here. Big and recent, yes. You know, all the stuff that I work on for Disney it's theme park related. So if you're in Tokyo in 2 years or 3 years, you'll be able to go and see what I what I worked on. Hoping to be able to turn this into more of a perpetuated gig, so that it's not just a one project and done sort of thing. But it's a fun type of gig, and it's all about concept modeling and concept sculpting for the rides. So it's really cool. It's really fun. Okay, so that's doing what I want it to do now. Since it has really good topology, I don't want to just kind of mirror and weld because that'll ruin things. So I'm just gonna Control Shift D, come down, deformation and mirror. Now I'm starting to get that eye effect that I'm wanting. You know what? I know what that is. Okay, yeah. And then so you can come over here, merge down. Okay, rename eye rings. Oh, hi, King. How you doing? Okay, so with this right now, I have these pieces down here still. I don't want that extra piece. I'm just gonna make sure that I have that soloed out. And we're gonna come down, let's modify topology, delete hidden. That's probably the phrase that you'll hear most often out of Michael Pavlovich if you watch his streams. Which I highly recommend you do. He's always like my #1 recommendation for people who are wanting to get started in ZBrush and wanting to really learn the cool tools and tricks and tips and things. he's the one that knows everything. Now you want gummy worms. Good, I have succeeded. Okay. Let me see. So for these eyes, let's try getting it to be something kind of like what I want in the end. So let's come over here, select this. Oh, let's go into toy plastic, because toy plastic is where it's at. Okay. So we're going to say MRGB, color, and let's make them kind of slightly yellow. I don't want them to be super yellow, but I don't want them to be super white either. So we're going to fill that. And then I want these. Let's start with this really, really red orange. Color, fill object. Okay, so now I've got this cool color for those eyes. Let's get these pupils out. Let's make it more red, really saturated, really dark. Okay, color, fill object. Okay. Some of it's smooth, some of it's really unrefined, but you know, it's still fun. It's still fun. Alright, so that's going to be kind of cool. One of the other things I want to do... No, this is definitely not part of a Wreck-It Ralph ride concept. In fact, I don't think they're doing anything Wreck-It Ralph related. But no, this is something that I'm doing purely for myself. Yeah, I like to play around a lot when I'm sculpting. I like to use these opportunities on ZBrush Live to just, you know, do something for me, just do something fun. So you'll probably see a lot of stuff that'll probably hopefully someday see my portfolio. Come on, there we go. You know what, let's one of the things I like playing with is that poly paint. I like playing with how the poly paint interacts with the tightness of the what's it called? Of the poly loops, of the edge loops. So if the edge loops are really close together, it'll keep the color really tight. But if you have the color, or if you have the loops a little bit further apart, like it is right here, you'll get a gradient from the one to the next. So I have this red transitioning to this yellow because of that gap there. So it's just a really quick, cheap way to get that sort of look. Now for this, let's just gotta think about, like, there's some sort of gummy material. Where is it? Well, that looks kind of neat, but it's too dark. There's jelly bean, but that's like super dark. Let me see. Not that one. What was the other one? This metallic one. So far, that one's been my favorite for the gummy eyes. Okay, so let's try this. In order to get that to work, actually, I'm going to have to come over here, drop material in here, go to modifiers. We're going to have to go to the hue sections. Let me see. Maybe this one doesn't have, oh, here we go. Colorize diffuse. It's not doing anything for me. Man, this one's tricky. Typically there's a hue slider, but I don't see one on there. Bummer. Maybe let's see if we can take this and change this to something else. Nope. Bummer. Oh well. I can tell that that's not gonna work for me. So maybe what we can do is we can come over here. That's kind of funny. Okay. Yeah, so since that's not going to work, I can just come over here. I kind of like the way that material behaves. It's kind of useful. This could be good for... Man, it doesn't want to... Ooh. Okay. Retain high color orientation, that's good. Yeah, we can change the hue a little bit on this one if we wanted. Make it a little bit more red. And that could be cool for the licorice tongue. Let's try that. So let's say... Yeah, actually let's just go into skin shade. That'll be more than sufficient. Okay, let's go color, fill object. Oh, no, that's just RGB, so let's do it again. Okay, so for the rest of the head, I'm trying to think of what color would be good for that. Anybody got any cool ideas for what color you think the head could be? Let's go ahead and change this to more of a yellow. these horns. Let's make them basic materials, too shiny. Fast shader. Yeah, let's just use chalk. Let's see if we can get chalk to behave the way that we want. Like the red, glossy white. Let me see. I mean, in my original sketch, it might be worth looking at this too. He's white in this. You can see like there's a little bit of red down toward the tip of his nose where it gets also a little bit black. I don't know. Kind of like how that looks actually. Take that, maybe we'll do something like that. Okay, let's try I've been getting this a lot lately where it goes through and it complains about apparently I don't have admin privileges on my own computer. It's like, you're dumb. Let's go over here. Let's say mask by smoothness. That's not masking it enough by smoothness. Let's mask by cavity. See if we can get. No. Mask by AO. Nope. Peaks and valleys. That's getting a little more something. Okay, so this could be cool. I'll just come over here. RGB. This will hopefully help me to get okay. Let's go more red. And then color, fill object. It's kind of starting to get something cool there. Yeah. Let's go back to that skin shade. Huh. How about that? Okay. So let's go back to the skin shade and see if we can't. Ooh, I didn't even think about applying some caramel there. That's kind of a cool idea. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Trying blue. I don't know if blue is quite what I want or what I feel like I want. Maybe I just need to try it and like not complain. Okay, let's see. Just kind of want to give that a little bit more of a twist so that it's pointing in a slightly different direction from the other ones. Ooh, I like that idea. Teamwork. Okay, so caramel for the saliva. I wrote that down so we could remember that because that's a good idea. That is definitely a good idea. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that train. My students can always hear the train. They always say something about it. Get another bar of reference material. Were you here earlier when I showed you the Mondo piece of chocolate that I pulled out? I even went ahead and I told the story about it. About how my mother-in-law gets these huge bars of chocolate. They're like 10-pound bars. They get it from people that they work for and whatnot. And just massive bars of chocolate, insane amounts of chocolate. And every time like we go over to visit, she's like, "Hijo, hay chocolate." And so, you know, I grabbed myself a couple chunks. As reference, I actually haven't eaten any of it yet, which is a miracle. And I still have some of that same bar of chocolate that I had from before. Oh, they taste real good. It's some good chocolate. Yes, it is bigger than your head, but it's good chocolate. It is real good chocolate. I enjoy it probably way too much. But that's okay. That's what chocolate's for, right? Okay, let me see. Let's kind of pull this up maybe a little bit more. I kind of liked how it was. Never mind. Pope or the dragon? Definitely. Oh, is that the Pope on the dragon? Okay, I see. I read that question really, really wrong. So I speak two languages. I speak Spanish and English. Yeah, really, really. I love Spanish. And I keep trying to get my wife to speak Spanish with me, but she won't. She says I sound like an old man. Okay, I'm starting to wonder if I want to take it more into the blues range. So that might be something that I go through and do, is I take this and then I fill that, and then I can go ahead and play with the same masking techniques that I was using earlier, you know, peaks and valleys, and let's get something a bit more green in here. Let's see if we can get something almost a little bit more purple. And then color fill object. Not entirely sure, but I think it'll come down to once I can figure out some sort of color idea for the head. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's starting to turn into something. Okay, so now we can come over here with our standard brush. I'm just going to turn on color spray, and let's make sure it's on RGB. It's way too big, so let's turn it down smaller. Let's come over here, let's say color, let's turn it down as far as we can. Scale, I want to make it so that it's got more variation there. It's not really doing a whole lot for me in what I would like. Okay, let me see, let's try something like that. I think that's kind of cool. That's not a good material for that. Let's actually try toy plastic. Just a bit too specular for me. Let's see if we can get... Let's change my specular curve just a little bit. That's not specular enough. Actually, I was thinking it reminded me a little bit from of Spyro the Dragon. Ooh, you know what? I'm liking that better. Okay, that'll work for me. Spanish is great, and it's useful, especially here in LA. Chavalo de España. Okay, let me see. Let's come back over here. Let's see if we can figure something out. Because I don't like the color spray, so we're just gonna not even worry about color spray. We're just gonna Is this working? Yeah, I guess it is working. Let's get it so that it's a bit darker. If it leaks through to the bottom, that's fine. Let's kind of smooth that out, let it be. So by hitting C when you hover over your model, you can actually go ahead and color pick. So that's a really useful functionality. Okay, this is really weird so far, but I'm hoping that we can go through and turn it into something less weird. And then I think I want to turn the hair into cotton candy or something. So we'll have to see. I mean, so far that's looking really weird, and I don't think it'll work for me yet. So I mean, it'll just take a little bit of concepting and playing and whatnot. I mean, granted, I still got to go through and play and see if this will work for me. Let's grab these, and we will turn them, and we will place them, and we will make them something fancy. Okay. Hey, hey everybody, how you doing? Okay. Makes it feel too much like little goofy teeth. So what I might have to do, I want these to feel like little whiskers kind of coming off there. So you might just have to be a little bit of finagling to get this to work. Let's we gotta do this real quick. Polygroups, auto groups, geometry, mirror and weld, so that way we've got it on both sides. Sweet. I just want this to kind of come up in here. Okay. I think there you go. That's kind of helping that. I think sometimes you just gotta kind of buff it up a little bit. And these will eventually end up being some sort of gummy pieces or something like that. But and then with this tongue, we'll just go ahead and we'll just shape it real quick. Just something. Just something. Just kind of rotate it down some. Okay. So now this will be kind of an idea of where we can take it. We'll have to figure out later if it actually works for us or not. I'm tired. We're gonna call it a night. So, thanks for coming and hanging out. And yeah, we'll see about continuing this next week. Thanks for coming by, and yeah, long tongue like an anteater. Yep, pretty cool. But he doesn't eat ants. He eats other things. Anyway, thanks for coming out, guys, and I look forward to being able to see you next week. Okay.